Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intensity. Hey, Aqualung, drying in the cold sun, watching as the pretty Peggy.
The MSX games Metal Gear and its sequel Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake were critically acclaimed but commercially unknown outside of Japan. Nevertheless, the sequel to Metal Gear 2 would find itself a global release for the PlayStation in 1998, 8 years after its predecessor. Due to the fact that the game wasn't really known outside of Japan, director Hideo Kojima decided to name the game Metal Gear Solid instead of Metal Gear 3 as originally planned. This was to start the series off fresh, even though the story of the previous games are still canon and are referenced quite a bit. However, you don't need to know the background of the previous games to understand what's going on. 6 years after the Zanzibar incident, Special Forces Unit Foxhound leads a revolution, seizing control of a nuclear weapons disposal facility on a remote island off the coast of Alaska called Shadow Moses, threatening the US government with a nuclear strike if they don't send the remains of the legendary soldier Big Boss, the antagonist of the previous two Metal Gear games. Colonel Roy Campbell recruits Solid Snake out of retirement and convinces him to accept the mission to infiltrate the facility, rescue the hostages Foxhound has taken, and stop them if they do have the ability to launch a nuclear weapon. The gameplay is similar to its predecessors, although obviously things have been revamped now that everything's in 3D. You'll control Solid Snake in a stealth mission, once again trying to sneak by areas without falling into the guard's field of vision or hearing. If you're spotted, you'll go into alert mode, where all the guards in the area will hunt you down, and you'll need to hide somewhere for a little while until the alert mode time runs out. Then you'll go into evasion mode, where the guard's aggression level goes down, but they're still keeping an eye out for you. And once that runs out, you're back in business. In alert and evasion modes, the radar in the upper right-hand part of the screen is disabled. The radar displays the location of your enemies as well as a cone to represent their field of vision. If you play on hard mode, the radar will be turned off. There's an easy, normal, and hard mode for difficulty settings, as well as an unlockable extreme mode, which is true to its name. It's fucking extreme. This is a sneaking mission, so you'll start out unarmed, but you'll find weapons along the way as they become necessary as the mission progresses, and you'll acquire rations to fill up your health meter. Helping you to sneak along is the ability to crouch down and crawl. This helps to minimize your visual presence, as well as leaning up against the wall and shuffling against it, or tapping the wall to distract guards. The cardboard box returns as a means of hiding. The guards will just assume it's a regular box, but keep in mind it doesn't work every time. You'll once again get assistance from several people through the radio. Colonel Roy Campbell returns to lead the operation. You can access this codec radio by pressing select and scrolling through the list of names to call. Some people have different areas of expertise that assist you from headquarters, and some are characters that you'll meet throughout the game. Speaking of characters, that's one of the great aspects of this game. The character development and the overall story is fantastic. It plays out like a movie, and you really could see that Hideo Kojima wanted to do that in the first two games, but the capabilities of these systems kept it limited, although it was still pretty fucking awesome for the time. Now with a lot more to work with, Kojima could really make these cutscenes play out cinematically. The dialogue and the story is well written, and the voice acting is superb as well. The lengthy cutscenes make this more like an interactive movie than just a straight up game, and that may not appeal to everyone, but personally I love it. Another part of the game that's awesome is the soundtrack. A lot of it is pretty down-tempo because you're sneaking throughout most of it, but it's very fitting. There's some good music that plays during cutscenes, and the boss battle theme is just plain awesome, as well as the closing credits. If you need a tutorial, there's the VR training mode, which sends you through virtual training missions, giving you the basic gist of how to play the game. Plus it offers up potential competitions amongst your friends if you want to see who can speedrun through the missions faster. It's a neat little addition. So Snake is launched from a submarine to the vicinity of the base, swimming his way to the dock below the surface. You have to get to the elevator in the back to get up there, but you have to wait for it to come down as terrorist leader Liquid Snake boards it upward. First head down the stairs into the water to get a ration. You have to get back to the surface before the oxygen level runs out and their life starts draining from there. Not that you're in any danger of that here, but this will come into play in other parts of the game. There'll be a couple guards patrolling the area. Lean against the wall or use the radar to see if the coast is clear. Watch the puddles on the ground. If you step on them when a guard is nearby, he'll hear it. Way off in the upper right hand corner, there's another ration behind the forklift. Keep in mind that you can only carry 2 rations maximum, but that number will increase as you defeat bosses later on in the game. If you get caught here, take off to the back end, dive off, and just stay underwater till the alert mode ends. The elevator will return down with a new guard to patrol the area. Get by them and take the elevator up, where you'll see Liquid board a Hind D helicopter to battle a couple jets that were sent as a diversion to help you get in. You'll have a codec conversation with Roy Campbell, who rebriefs you on the situation. He's joined by Dr. Naomi Hunter, who monitors your nanomachines and health situation. And there's Mei Ling, the Chinese data specialist who explains your radar system and is in charge of saving your data files. Call her to save your mission. The door to the base is inaccessible. You'll have to slip through one of the air ducts on the first or second floor. Head to the landing pad in the middle and run across when the spotlight's clear to grab some chaff grenades. Then head north to the back of this truck to get a SOCOM pistol. And now you've got some weaponry. Personally, I like to enter the building through the second floor duct. If the guard won't get out of your way, knock on the wall here to distract him and head around on the opposite side he's on. Watch the surveillance camera. You want to slip around when it's facing away. Sneak by the guard and slip into the air duct here to get into the building. Along the way, Master Meryl will give you a call, another returning character from Metal Gear 2. He'll give you advice on survival and environmental conditions and whatnot. After crawling around for a bit, you'll eavesdrop on a conversation between two guards, and you'll find out that the DARPA chief is in the first floor basement and that there's another intruder in the building who's killed 3 people and is using stealth. There's a ration at the end of the line, just after the hole you'll want to drop down to enter the hangar. There's some chaffs on the left. After that, head right, but be careful of the cameras. Use the chaff grenade if you have to. Head into this room, slip by the camera, and grab the thermal goggles in the corner. Watch the camera here as you slip down the stairs, head north, and take the elevator down to B1. The DARPA chief is in the cell over here, but you can't open the door, so you'll have to climb the ladder into the vent. Strange how the hostage isn't guarded by anyone. Take your first left while crawling through the vent and look down. Ah, no wonder why the area was so quiet. The guard was busy taking a shit. Grab the SOCOM bullets and head back on your regular path. Look down the first vent to see a woman prisoner doing sit-ups. Then the next vent is where you'll slip in to meet the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. He'll tell you the details about Metal Gear Rex, the new prototype for the top-secret nuclear-equipped walking battle tank that his company built. Kenneth Baker, the president of the systems developers Armstech, and the DARPA chief each have a password that needs to be entered, but the terrorists found out DARPA chief's password through Mantis, their psychic, who read his mind. So all they need now is Baker's password. He tells you there is a safety measure, 3 card keys that Baker should have that you can use to stop the launch. So your next objective is to find him. Anderson tells you he overheard the guards say that he's in the second floor basement, and that the entrances have been cemented over. Give you a card that'll open all level 1 security doors. Right as you're about to help him escape, he asks you a couple questions and then suddenly goes into a convulsion, falls on the floor, and dies. Nobody can make heads or tails of the situation, though Snake is skeptical that some information is being kept from him. You'll hear a struggle from outside the cell. Grab a ration from under the bed if you need it, and walk out the door once it opens up. The woman from the cell that overheard the whole conversation you had with the DARPA chief is now clothed in the guard's uniform after taking him out, and after a brief standoff, assumes you're on her side, just as a group of guards interrupt and start a firefight. Keep a safe distance and blast them with your SOCOM. Reinforcements will come in, and finally the rookie broad will get over her reluctance to shoot and blast them down. Continue to take out the rest of them. Just watch out for the grenades that will be thrown in. Head for the door at that moment. After you take them out, she'll run for the elevator, and you'll see a flashback of the terrorists having a short conversation. Then the chick starts firing at you. What the hell's wrong with you, bitch? Then you'll get hit with a weird hallucination of the psychic previously mentioned Mantis floating around, as explained by Naomi Hunter. So hop back on the elevator and take it down to B2. Watch out for the trapdoors between these rooms. You can run clear across them okay, but if you stand still, you're dead. Some of these rooms you can't get into, but the level 1 doors you can, as long as you have the card equipped. Go into these rooms and grab the C4, SOCOM ammo, and grenades. Now the DARPA chief mentioned that the entrances are cemented, but they didn't have enough time to paint them, so the areas where the walls are a different color are where you want to look. Use the C4 here, just make sure you give yourself some distance so you don't get caught in the explosion. Same thing here, and then in this spot too. You'll find Kenneth Baker standing against the wall surrounded by wire attached to C4. Touching it will cause an explosion. One of the members of Foxhound, Revolver Ocelot, confronts you, challenging you to a gunfight, and the first boss battle begins. He'll run around the room in a circle. Chase and fire at him when you can, but watch out because he can ricochet his bullets off the walls, and if Baker gets tagged enough times or if you trip the wire, he'll die and the game is over. Use the pillars as protection when he's firing at you, and when he's reloading, that's your best chance to get a clean shot in. There are 2 SOCOM bullet refills in 2 locations, the upper left hand corner and underneath the wire here. You'll have to crawl to get to it. The ammo will respawn, but you have to pick them up in both locations first. After taking him out, you get a cutscene where the fight is interrupted by a mysterious ninja wielding a sword who cuts off Ocelot's hand and slashes the wires, freeing Baker. Ocelot picks up his hand and takes off. The ninja freaks out and leaves as well. Snake has a conversation with Baker, who reveals that he gave in to Ocelot's torture and gave up his detonation code, and now the terrorists have both codes that can launch any time. Baker tells you that he gave the override keys the DARPA chief mentioned to the female prisoner, who Snake at this point determines that it's probably Meryl, Colonel Campbell's niece. He gives you her codec number, although he really tells you it's on the back of the CD case, which you have to look for yourself. It's 140.15. He recommends you find Dr. Hal Emmerich, the engineering leader for the Metal Gear project at the Nuclear Warhead Storage Building, and gives you a level 2 security card and an optical disc which contains the only remaining copy of Metal Gear's test data. He also mentions that the ninja who just randomly showed up is Foxhound's dirty little secret, and that Naomi Hunter should have some information about it. Then Baker starts convulsing the same way the DARPA chief did, and he dies too. Campbell and Naomi still have no answers to what's going on about Baker's death or the ninja, and Snake is starting to get pissed. So now you gotta get into contact with Meryl, but you can't call her from this enclosed area due to the electronic jamming, so you gotta go back upstairs. But first, go into the rooms you couldn't get into before now that you've got the level 2 card, and grab the FAMAS assault rifle and ammo. Just watch out for the infrared sensors. Smoke the cigarettes or use the thermal goggles to see where they are and crawl between them. Also be careful as there are guards patrolling the area this time. Once you get back to the first floor, call up Meryl. She'll apologize for attacking you earlier, not sure at the time that you were on her side. She'll tell you that this building isn't really a disposal facility, but a base for the development of Metal Gear. She has a level 5 card which will open the cargo door leading to the storage building you need to get to find Dr. Emmerich. So she offers to open up the door for you and then meet up with you later on when you get a hold of Emmerich. While you're waiting for Meryl to open the door, get some supplies in the hangar, like the suppressor for the SOCOM pistol here. The guard is asleep on his feet, so just walk by carefully and you'll be fine. On the upstairs portion in the upper right, there's a mine detector and a ration. Just be careful of the security camera and the guard in the area. Meryl will call you when she opens the door, and ignore your advice from the previous conversation to stay put and wait for you. So go through the cargo door, which is right near the elevator, and carefully walk to the door, as there are infrared sensors that shift from the ceiling to the floor in a line. Use the cigarettes or thermal goggles to see them and step across when the beam goes up. Do them one at a time to be on the safe side. When you open the door and step outside, you'll get a call from a mysterious informant who calls himself Deep Throat. He warns you that there are claymore mines in the area and there's a tank ahead waiting to ambush you. Use the mine detector or thermal goggles to see the mines and crawl on the ground to pick them all up, including the one over here on the left. You'll want it all cleared for the battle that's about to start. The tank shows up, with Vulcan Raven behind the wheel, challenging you. Raven drives the tank, and one of the guards will fire the gun at you, as well as the blast from the torrent. First thing you want to do is throw a chaff grenade to fuck up the tank sensors. This will allow you to charge up to the tank, which you're going to need to do. Then switch to regular grenades and throw them toward the gunner, all the while trying to keep a safe enough distance from the tank so it doesn't knock you down, but you want to stay close enough to it so the gun won't reach you. You'll want to move consistently so it's always chasing you. After you drain half the health meter of the gunner, the guard will die and be replaced by another. If you're lucky enough, one of the grenades might fall down the hatch and kill the guard right away, making it possible to finish this boss battle with only 2 grenade tosses. After taking out the tank, Snake will grab the level 3 card from the dead guard and move on. Raven has a codec conversation with Liquid and Ocelot, discussing how impressed he is with Snake, and that they'll, as Liquid says, play with him for a little more. Head to the corner to grab a ration, then crawl through the gap in the wall. Campbell and Naomi will call to remind you that there are dismantled warheads all over the place on this floor, so you can't use your weapons or plutonium might get leaked out. If you get spotted on this floor, you're fucked, as gas will leak out and you'll be stuck breathing it in until you die, so be careful. Campbell will also give you the frequency to nuclear specialist Nastasha Romanenko. Call her for information on nukes and weapon systems. Stay to the right, watch out for the guard, and grab FAMAS bullets in this nook and under the staircase here when the coast is clear. Then run up said staircase and hug the wall to avoid the camera in the corner. Hide behind this box until the guard is out of the way, and go down the elevator to B1. Use the level 3 card to get into this room, but be cautious in here as it's a pretty wide open area with a guard patrolling. Grab the SOCOM bullets here in the middle, and then head to the upper right hand corner to get some stun grenades. Another guard will return from a bathroom trip soon, so keep your eyes on the door too. There are doors to small rooms on the left and right sides of the room. You can't get into any on the left side yet, but the first one on the right side has a Nikita remote controlled missile launcher and some missiles for it. Now head back to the elevator and head down to B2. You'll enter a gas-filled room and Deep Throat calls you to warn you about it, as well as the electrified floor, advising you to take out the switchboard in the northwest portion of the floor with a remote-controlled missile. Well, that's what this Nikita launcher is for. Fire it and guide the missile to the left at the intersection and then follow the path to the switchboard and blast it. But watch out for the security cameras that will fire at the missile when spotted. Use the D-pad to force the missile into a faster speed. You can also go into first-person view if it tickles your fancy more. Another thing is your oxygen level. Because the place is filled with gas, it'll decrease, so don't take your sweet-ass time too much with this. Retreat back to the previous room to get some air if you have to. After deactivating the electricity, walk across and grab the ration in the first room, and a gas mask in the third room. Just watch out for the security camera. Put the gas mask on to slow down the decreasing oxygen level and head back out for fresh air to recharge it when you're getting low. Then head to the direction you fired the missile, stay against the wall to avoid the cameras, and grab the chaff grenade and ration. Then head right at the intersection, watch the camera against the door, and use the level 3 card to get in. You'll find a shitload of guards sliced to death in the corridor, and soon discover it was at the hands of the ninja. You'll follow him into the next room to find him stalking Dr. Emmerich, who gets so nervous from his impending death that he pisses himself in the corner, although can you really blame him? After confronting him, he challenges you to a battle to the death, claiming that this is the only way for him to feel alive again, so the fight starts. Don't shoot at him, he'll just ricochet the bullets with his sword, so bring out the bare fists and punch him. After a few shots, he'll withdraw the sword, embracing the hand-to-hand battle. Hit him with combos again, watch out for his spin kicks and strikes, wait for him to pause for a bit. After a little while, he'll start using his stealth camouflage and hideout, calling you out to find him. You can see right where he lands the first time. Run up to him and give him a few shots, or you can use the thermal goggles to see him better. Keep in mind that if you wait too long, he'll unleash on you. Next, he'll try to teleport when you try to attack him. Simply walk into him, turn right around, and let him have it. Once you drain all his energy, get away from him as he'll start spazzing out and the energy surrounding him will hurt you. He'll beg you to hurt him more. Now's when you can shoot him, and after a couple shots, it's finally over. The ninja asks Snake if he remembers who he is now. When Snake realizes it's Grey Fox and mentions that he died in Zanzibar, he freaks out again and takes off. Naomi confirms that Grey Fox was revived from his apparent death and experimented on for gene therapy in an exoskeleton by Foxhound after the Zanzibar incident. She also says that she kept this from you because it's confidential information. When asked about Metal Gear, Emmerich seems to be unaware in regard to it being used to carry nuclear missiles, even though he's assigned to engineer the project. He agrees to help you destroy Metal Gear by hiding out with the help of stealth camouflage, one of his many toys. When informing Meryl of the situation, she seems to get spotted by the enemy, so Emmerich, who insists that you call him Otacon, gives you a level 4 security card and splits up with you. So it's on to find Meryl. Go back to the first floor basement. She's dressed as one of the enemy soldiers, but you've got to get her attention. You also have to make sure you've got the right person and not an enemy guard. Otacon mentions that he noticed the way she wiggles her ass when she walks, so when snooping around here, check out everyone's asses and look for that walk. Get in her face and she'll run for the ladies' room. Follow her there. She has only one of the 3 card keys to override the detonation code, so it looks like destroying Metal Gear is the only option at this point. She gives you her level 5 security card and insists you take her with you since she knows the place so well, and asks you to follow her. When you do, she just fucking stands there, so it looks like you're gonna have to lead the way. First go back in here and go into the bottom door and grab the diazepam and some FAMAS bullets. The overland route to Metal Gear's underground maintenance base is blocked by frozen glaciers, so you're gonna have to go through the commander's room, which is this way. When you get here, Meryl will start complaining about what seems like a bad migraine, and freaks out a bit. Then she gets back up, saying she's fine, but something's obviously wrong. When you get to the commander's room, she'll point her gun at you and ask you to fuck her, but it's Psycho Mantis controlling her, so you gotta knock her out. Use a stun grenade or punch her out. Personally, I prefer the latter. It gives her a little less time to shoot, plus it's a little more satisfying. After knocking her out, Mantis will read your mind, breaking down your skills based on how well you've done on the game so far, as well as mentioning how often you've saved. He'll move the controller if the vibration is on, and if you have certain Konami games on your memory card, he'll actually read the data and mention the game, an interesting Easter egg to say the least. It's made plenty of people shit their pants who didn't see it coming. So the battle begins, and the screen starts bugging out, just Hideo Kojima playing games with the player as usual. He attacks by hurling furniture at you mostly, using levitation, and no matter how good a shot you are, you'll miss him every time, thanks to his ability to read your mind. It seems absolutely impossible up until about 3 times after you die and continue. Campbell will suggest you plug the controller into port 2. It's cryptic, but at least the game tells you about it. So yeah, switching controls is the first thing you're going to want to do. Equip the thermal goggles to see where Mantis is since he's using stealth camouflage, or if you don't have them, use the first person view and you'll be looking through the eyes of Mantis. Use that to determine where he is. Use the FAMAS, and if you don't have the goggles, you'll want to wave the gun around a bit in the vicinity of Mantis to ensure you land a hit. While he's got the chairs swinging around in circles, you want to stand as close to the wall as you can. The chairs won't reach you until he puts them back down, so take some shots from here if you're close enough. Dodge the paintings that come flying off the wall, and when he sends the vases at you, get on the ground and crawl and wait for them to go away. After taking out a significant amount of his health, he'll take control of Meryl again and have her try to shoot you. Knock her out again, and Mantis will revive her and make her try to kill herself. Knock her out one more time, and Mantis starts getting pissed. Now he'll just teleport and throw a piece of furniture. Dodge it and shoot him. After taking him down, Meryl's brainwashing wears off, and Mantis utters his last words, giving a little about his backstory. That after diving into his father's mind, he discovered that his father hated him after his mother died giving birth to him. So he burnt down his village and never turned back, diving into people's minds and hating everything he saw in them. So he joined this revolution just to kill as many people as possible. He reads Meryl's mind, saying that Snake has a large place in her heart, but isn't sure if their futures lie together. He uses his power one last time to move the bookcase in the back of the room, revealing a hidden door to the communications tower. And then he dies. Grab the ammo and ration over here by the stairs and move on. You'll hear wolf dogs nearby. Meryl takes the lead again, but she really could have gone in either direction, so you're on your own. Head right first. It's really dark in this caved area, so throw on the night vision goggles to see better. Grab a ration and SOCOM bullets, then head back to where you came from and take the left path. Crawl under the rock and watch out for the dogs, they'll attack. Head up, then right, then down. Punch or shoot the dogs if they get in your face too much, even if you might not want to. I mean, it's survival. Crawl under the space here and you'll meet back up with Meryl, who's apparently better with dogs as she has them under control. The next door leads to just outside the communications tower. There are mines in the area, but Meryl knows exactly where because she managed to see where they were placed when Mantis dove into her mind. She'll leave a little path you can safely follow, or you can just use the thermal goggles to see them. But then as you're about to move along, a sniper tags Meryl in the leg twice, and then once in the arm, trying to lure you out into the open. Meryl lays on the ground helpless, but encourages you to go on without her. But to battle the sniper, who Naomi assumes has to be Sniper Wolf, you'll need a rifle, so you have to go all the way back to the first floor basement of the disposal facility, into this level 5 door you obviously couldn't get into before. There's a PSG-1 sniper rifle in here, but there are infrared sensors, so use the cigarettes or the thermal goggles to see them and carefully crawl between them. Head back to the communications tower. You'll notice that Meryl isn't anywhere to be seen. Crawl on the ground beside the edge of the wall, equip the PSG, and look on the second floor for Wolf. She'll be hiding behind one of the pillars and slip out to one side to fire, then run off and hide again. Try to pick her off once she emerges and follow her right after. You might be able to get a few more hits in before she hides again, as she'll also crouch and lay down to take aim. The physical stress of holding the gun will get to Snake after a little while, and the crosshairs will be difficult to control. So take some diazepam to fix this momentarily. After defeating Wolf, head up, grab the PSG bullets in the nook here, the SOCOM and FAMAS bullets under the staircase at the end, a ration over here, and more PSG bullets up on the second floor. Call up Mei Ling and save your progress here. It's very important. When you get to the door of the tower, you'll get ambushed by guards led by Sniper Wolf. They knock you out and capture you. You'll wake up restrained and finally come face to face with Liquid. He gets a call from Raven, and you find out through the conversation that Washington isn't responding to their demands, and that they plan on launching the first nuke in 10 hours. Liquid leaves to prepare for the launch, and Wolf leaves to feed her wolves. Ocelot stays behind to start his little torture session. He steals the optical disc Baker gave you, but wants to know what you know about the card keys, that there's a trick to using them. Of course, Snake doesn't know anything about it either. But Ocelot's gonna torture you anyway. He'll send an electric current through your body. You're gonna have to repeatedly mash the circle button to keep your life meter up. You can press select at any time to submit to the torture, but Ocelot claims he'll kill Meryl if you do. If you die from the torture, you won't be able to continue and you'll have to pick up where you last saved the game, hence why it was so important to save right after defeating Wolf. Your decision on whether or not to give in to the torture will determine the game's ending. If you want the good ending, you'll want to bear through the torture. Afterwards, the guard will drag you back to your cell, where you'll find the corpse of the DARPA chief lying in the corner, decomposing and covered in maggots. Yummy. You'll talk to Campbell and find out that he was keeping information from you about Metal Gear being designed specifically to launch a new type of nuclear warhead. Call up Otacon and he says he's on his way, but before he can get there, the guard will come back and bring you back to Ocelot for another torture session. Cut through it again, and afterwards Ocelot will explain his motive for joining the revolution, to see a resurgence in his homeland of Russia, as they have contacts with someone high up in the Russian Spetsnaz that wants to buy Metal Gear off of them. The Hind was down payment. You'll be back in the cell, and Naomi tries to help Snake forget about the pain with conversation. The subject of family comes up, Naomi saying she never had one aside from an older, non-blood related brother that put her through school who died. Snake says that he has no family either other than potentially Big Boss who claimed to be his father. When you hang up, the guard will eventually run off to take a shit. Otacon shows up. He says he can't unlock the door with a security card. A key that the soldiers carry is needed. He'll give you a ration, some ketchup, and a handkerchief that he got from Sniper Wolf, who he seems to take a liking to. Snake urges Otacon to take out the guard and take the key to get him out, but he doesn't feel capable of it, so as the guard is on his way back, Otacon takes off, thanks a pant load. Before the guard returns, crawl on the ground, equip the ketchup, and use it. Don't move and it'll make you look like a bloody corpse. The guard will freak out and run into the cell. Get up and take him out. If you use the ketchup too late when the guard is looking, the jig will be up, and you'll have to go through another torture session, and when you end up back in the cell, the ninja will bust you out. Grab the ration down here and go through the door. Grab your belongings from behind the torture machine, and now you're back in business. Use a chaff grenade to get by the security camera, and now you're back outside where you met the DARPA chief. Head back to the communications tower. Along the way, you'll get a call from Deep Throat, telling you that a bomb has been planted in your items. Throw it away. When passing through the caved area, equip the handkerchief. The dogs won't attack you as you'll smell like Sniper Wolf. When passing by the spot where Meryl was shot, Snake has a flashback of the grim scene. Snake blames himself for pushing Meryl too hard, and Master tells him not to dwell on it, as that won't help the situation. Naomi, for like the fourth fucking time now, questions Snake on whether or not he has feelings for Meryl based on how hellbent he is to save her. Campbell jokingly implies that Naomi's interrogating approach comes from her grandfather's past as an assistant secretary for the FBI. Master questions Naomi as she mentioned earlier she had no family. She retorts that she never met her family and researched about it afterward. Grab the bullets again in the same spots as earlier, and grab a ration in this nook too. But there's a security camera here, so use a chaff if you want to grab it. Enter the tower, grab the bullets on the floor, and once you pass this door, you'll automatically be detected by the security camera. Don't even bother with the chaff grenade here, this is basically a mini-boss battle. Take out the guards that come from behind, grab the stun grenade and rope, and before heading up the stairs, grab the 6 boxes of ammo here. 3 are SOCOM and 3 are FARMAS, plus there's a ration. More guards will follow, so be sure to pick up the ration last, at least if you're maxed out anyway. Head up the stairs and just keep running, stopping only to turn and fire at the guards that are on your trail, and shoot the ones that are waiting in front of you too. You won't be able to get through the level 6 door at ground level. According to Otacon, it freezes up a lot and can't open. So naturally you have to go all the way up to the top of the tower and use the walkway that connects them from the roof. When you do get to the top, grab all the ammo and the ration down here and climb the ladder to the roof. When you try to advance, Liquid will shoot down the walkway with the Hind helicopter, preventing you from being able to get across. If you didn't grab the rope, you'll have to go back down and get it, because here you're gonna use it to rappel down the tower to the ground. Press X to jump away from the wall and use the D-pad to either drop down or jump from side to side, and you can walk slowly across the wall by holding circle while using the D-pad. Drop down the wall and try to steer away from the gunfire and steam coming from the pipes. There's no way to defend yourself other than getting the hell away. When you get to the ground, Liquid will cease fire, apparently losing you. Grab the ration, and you can use C4 on the door down here to make access back and forth quicker than going back up, but you really don't need to unless you want to grab the ammo at the bottom of the tower. Get ready to snipe again. There are 3 guards waiting for you at the end of the walkway. Get on the ground as far away from them as you can and pick them off. They'll retreat and come back, but they don't have a lot of room, so you don't have to spread out your attack much at all. Once you take them out, move on, and Liquid will appear again and fire at you. Book it for the door, grab the Stinger missile launcher and missiles. When you try to take the elevator down, it won't work for some reason, so try your luck down the stairs, but the stairwell at the bottom has been destroyed. So back up the stairs you go, and you'll run into Otacon. He'll ask Snake if he thinks love can bloom even in a chaotic situation like a battlefield. It almost sounds like he's hitting on him, but really he's got a big crush on Sniper Wolf, and he's curious if it's possible that Wolf feels the same way. Snake says, yeah, but he feels bad about the fact that he couldn't save Meryl. Snake asks Otacon to fix the elevator. Otacon isn't sure why it's not working, as he just used it a little while ago, but agrees to help Snake. Meanwhile, Snake has to prepare himself to take on Liquid and the Hind. Head to the roof of the tower, but watch out for the cameras that are stationed along the way. Use first-person view from the bottom of each flight of stairs and use a chaff grenade to scramble them up. When you get to the top, grab all the Stinger missiles, some FAMAS bullets, and a ration. Then climb up the ladder and get ready for battle. Liquid makes another suggestion that he's your brother, claiming that he'll send you to hell to meet the father that you killed, referring to Big Boss. He'll circle the area and try to gun you down. Use the walls here as a means to protect you from whatever side the Hind is coming from. When you see an opening, aim the Stinger missile launcher at the Hind. Once it's locked, fire and retreat. If you have the radar on, it's really easy to tell where he is. If not, then try to listen for the sounds of the chopper or use the launcher to try to get a lock on. Sometimes he'll disappear and try to sneak up on you. Stay to the north. It's lower to the ground and you have walls to protect you. Up here you're a sitting duck. Go up here only if you need Stinger missile refills. About halfway through the fight, Liquid will retreat and fire a missile at you. Just stay to the north. The missile will always land in the unsafe area. When you drain all of the Hind's energy, he'll do the same thing as earlier. He'll fly off into the distance and fire a missile at you. But this won't do anything to you. It's just part of the cutscene that follows the boss battle. The Hind will crash land into a huge explosion that Liquid seemingly has no chance to survive. Otacon will call and let you know that he got the elevator working again, or rather it just started working on its own. So head back down to the elevator, again taking out the cameras with chaff grenades. Take the elevator down to the first floor, and on the way down, the weight limit warning goes off for some reason. Otacon calls you, telling you that he went back to his lab to get one of the remaining 4 stealth camouflage suits for you. But they were missing, and the weight limit warning went off when he was on it by himself too. Putting 2 and 2 together, you realize that there are 4 guys in stealth suits on the elevator with you. Obviously, they're not easy to see, especially with 4 of them running around all at once, but you can get the general gist of where they are. Try to keep your distance and blast at whatever moves, or whatever looks like it's moving. Move frequently and spread out your attacks amongst them all, reducing the chances of one of them getting a shot off. They'll also drop goodies when you kill them, so grab these. When you take them out, you'll stop at the bottom floor. Get out and grab the chaff grenade and FAMAS bullets by the broken stairwell. Then swing around the end and get the ration and PSG bullets. Open this level 6 door down here, but watch out for the camera, it fires. Use a chaff as soon as you get in, grab the PSG, SOCOM, and FAMAS bullets ahead. But there are more cameras along the way, so either move your ass really fast or use another chaff at the corner. You'll end up outside, and as you start moving along your way, you'll get snagged by a bullet. Otacon calls to see if you're okay, and you realize that Sniper Wolf is aiming at you through the salacious storm. Otacon, being that he's infatuated with Wolf, begs you not to hurt her, which Snake is having none of. Wolf even interrupts the codec conversation, claiming that you'll put a bullet through your heart. Despite Otacon's begging you two not to fight, the battle will commence. There's PSG bullets on the left and right sides of the area, plus a ration on the right side. The strategy is similar to the last battle. Get in position with the PSG behind a tree or near a hill to make it a little tougher on Wolf to hit you. Look around for her. This time she's got a lot more room to maneuver, but odds are she'll be hiding behind a tree before taking aim, firing, and then running off to hide behind a different tree, or she'll crouch down and shoot. After hitting her, follow her and try to get multiple shots in, hitting her in stride, as well as taking the diazepam if you need it. When you take her out, she'll give her final words, knowing full well that she can't survive the wounds. She talks about her time as a child growing up on the battlefield, building up an anger against the world for the way it was run, admitting that she joined the revolution for the sake of vengeance. She asks Snake to finish her off and end her suffering. Otacon shows up, distraught, but gives her her gun so she can die with it. Snake blasts her in the head and wraps her handkerchief around her face. Snake suggests to Otacon that he take off, but he decides to stick around and help. Before you head to the underground maintenance base, grab some items in the little rooms scattered throughout the perimeter of the snowfield. On the left side, there are some rations and a cardboard box. The latter you shouldn't need. Just make sure you toss a chaff in there. These cameras will pick you up otherwise. The room on the right will have several chaff and regular grenades. There are cameras in here too, so you'll have to sacrifice another chaff, but it pays for itself. The northern room on the right side has no cameras, but there are claymore mines, so crawl to get a ration, grenades, and diazepam. The room just to the left of that leads you to the underground base, but there are cameras, so use a chaff. Grab the SOCOM bullets here and head down the stairs, and you'll have to insert disc 2. Don't worry, the game isn't half over. The majority of the game is compiled into disc 1. You'll enter the blast furnace next. There'll be a guard patrolling the area. When he walks out onto the edge of this platform, run by him via the lower path left. Or you can pick him off with the sniper rifle and grab some stun grenades. Here you'll have to lean back against the wall and shimmy across. Don't bump into the crane that shifts against the wall. Crouch down and wait for it to pass over you, then continue shimmying. Also, don't refrain from leaning against the wall at all. You'll fall to your death immediately. Wait for the guards to go away and go down the stairs, slipping in here for some SOCOM bullets. Then continue left and head down these stairs for a ration. Then go back to the staircase you originally came down from and head down this way for some C4. Go down the stairs and slip in here for more SOCOM bullets. There's another ration behind this wall, but you've got to be careful leaning back against it. One slip and you're dead. Then grab some stun grenades here and head into this doorway into the boiler room. Steam will periodically spurt out of the pipes. Wait for them to stop before moving on. Head left at the bottom, grab the PSG bullets and Nikita missiles up here, then crawl on the floor under the wall and you'll pop out here. Use a chaff to distort the cameras and grab the body armor, stinger missiles and chaff grenades. The body armor will cut your damage in half, so wear it at all times from now on when you're not already using an item. So come back the way you came in and enter the door straight ahead. An elevator is on its way up. While you're waiting, grab the 3 boxes of FAMAS bullets plus the SOCOM bullets, then get on the elevator and activate it to send it down. 4 guards will hop onto the elevator right as it takes off. And once again, you'll have to battle 4 guys on an elevator. Use the same strategy as last time, only this time you have more room to work, and they're not using stealth, so they're easier to see. One funny way that you can take these guys out is to punch them right against the rail of the elevator, knocking them over. But that only works if they're standing right against the rail, and it leaves you vulnerable, so only do this when there's only like 1 guy left. When you take them all out, the elevator will stop. Get off and watch out as there's a camera around the corner. Use a chaff and run by, but watch out as there are claymores surrounding the next elevator. So use the thermal goggles to see where they are, grab the FAMAS bullets in the corner, and send the next elevator down. While on your way down, you'll get a call from Master Meryl, who tells you he dug up some dirt on Naomi Hunter. The monitor is turned off, so only Master and Snake can hear this conversation, by the way. So he found out that Naomi lied about her grandfather being an investigator for the FBI, due to information that she gave earlier not adding up. He'll keep you posted on the situation, warning you to watch your back from here on out. The elevator stops. Grab the Nikita missiles, C4, and ration from behind the boxes near the walls, and head through the door up ahead. Vulcan Raven awaits, carrying a whole freaking Vulcan cannon, challenging you to battle. There's a bunch of crates scattered throughout the room. He'll run around between the crates and fire randomly, hoping you'll cross his path. The best bet is to sneak behind him, fire a stinger missile at him, and run. If you get in front of him, not only does he have a great chance of hitting you due to the rapid rate and range of his cannon, but he could very well shoot down your missile, rendering your attack a waste. He has excellent field of vision too, so if you're in front of him at any capacity, he's gonna spot you, unless you're hiding behind a crate. Another means of attack you can do on the side is to leave C4 in a given spot, wait for him to run to that spot, and detonate it. I wouldn't rely on it as a sole means of taking him out, but it's a good secondary option if you see him approaching nearby. Using the radar really helps in locating him. Otherwise, you want to lean against the crates to see further out and listen for him because his walking is really loud. After the fight, Raven, impressed by your skills, will hand you a level 7 security card and gives you a hint that the man who died in front of you wasn't the DARPA chief. It was Foxhound's master of disguise, Decoy Octopus. But as far as the reason why, he leaves it up to you to solve the rest of the riddle. And as Snake walks off, the Ravens devour Vulcan Raven's body completely. Master calls immediately after about the Naomi situation, but Campbell eavesdrops in. Naomi isn't nearby, so Master lets Campbell in on the situation too. It turns out Naomi Hunter is committing identity theft. The real Naomi disappeared in the Middle East some time ago, and the Naomi we know is under her identity. They speculate she might be a spy working with the terrorists, or perhaps a whole other group. Master suggests putting her under arrest, but Campbell seems reluctant to do so. Snake suspects that Campbell is hiding something. Campbell says he'll see what he can do to get the information from her. Enter the door up ahead, grab the chaff grenades, and watch out for the trapdoors as you move ahead. Stop before the turn, as there are a shitload of security cameras here. Use a chaff and take a right. It'll lead you to some Stinger missiles. Use another chaff, head left, grab the Stinger missiles, and head through the next door. You'll arrive in the room where Metal Gear is being stored. Head right and Otacon will call you. He says he overheard the terrorists mentioning that they inputted the PAL codes and are almost ready to launch. He's in the computer room, incognito thanks to the stealth camouflage, trying to hack into President Baker's private files to help with the override system, even if Snake only has one key. So head up the ladder, grab the chaffs on the right, head left and down to get some FAMAS bullets. Then head up and climb the ladder. Head up and follow the linear path to grab some FAMAS bullets, chaff grenades, and Stinger missiles. Then head back and climb up the next ladder. And Otacon calls back. He hasn't gotten to the file with the override system yet, but he did find out that the new nuclear warhead that the US has been developing is a stealth weapon that won't show up on enemy radars, making it the most powerful weapon in the world, and it's now in the hands of terrorists. So continue on, but be ready for a guard patrolling the area. Grab the FAMAS bullets in this nook on the right, and SOCOM bullets on the next one, and more SOCOM bullets as you approach the computer room. Liquid, who somehow managed to survive the helicopter crash, and Ocelot are going over their plans to launch, and ally themselves with Sergei Galukovich, the head of the Russian Spetsnaz. They also mention that their list of demands also includes $1 billion and the vaccine for Fox Die, which they say is what killed Octopus and Baker. Interesting. Also, they mention that Meryl is still alive. They're keeping her alive for leverage against Snake. Otacon calls you up to let you know about the override system. It's basically an emergency system that can only be used once. If you use the keys while it's active, it deactivates it, and vice versa. And the one key you have is actually 3 keys in one. It's made of shape memory alloy. At different temperatures, it changes shape, and you have to insert them in order from left to right. First the room temperature key, then the low temperature key, then the high temperature key. But as you're about to start the process, Ocelot spots you and shoots the key out of your hand, sending it down to the drainage ditch. They seal the entrance to the computer room, and you're in alert mode. You gotta blast your way through the guards, heading back down to the ground the way you came in to get the key out of the drainage ditch. There are 2 entries to the ditch, one on the left side and one out front. The key is never in the same spot, so you're going to have to weave all around to find it. Just make sure you use a chaff if you enter the left side, as there's a camera mounted up there, and your life meter will decrease when you're in the ditch, although it is at a very slow rate and not very noticeable. There's also a ration at the bottom portion of the left side stairway to the ditch. Grab it, even though your fucking rations are frozen now. You'll have to warm them up later. Climb back up to the computer room, which isn't sealed anymore, and Ocelot and Liquid are gone. Well, whatever, just insert the key into the left terminal. Now you gotta freeze the key for the second input, so head back to where you fought Raven and hang around for a little while. Check the key in your item menu to see if it turned blue. When it does, head back to the computer room and input it into the center terminal. For the final input, you have to warm the key, so head all the way back to the blast furnace. While you're on the elevator up, Master will call you back, telling you he got some info from a friend in the Pentagon about Fox Die, an assassination weapon developed by the DIA that targets specific people and simulates a heart attack, which is what Octopus and Baker appeared to die of. Snake recounts that Naomi injected him with nanomachines before the mission started, connecting even more dots to the fact that she's involved. Snake asks Campbell what the story is, and he tells him that he's placed Naomi under arrest for sending secret coded messages to the Alaskan base, seemingly working with the terrorists, and that they're currently interrogating her. While in the blast furnace, select the rations in the item menu to warm them back up so you can use them again, and check the key for when it turns red. When it does, head back. On the elevator ride back down, Naomi will call you from a different codec while everyone else over there is busy. She confirms that she indeed bought all her identification and has no idea who she really is. She knows she was a poor orphan in Rhodesia until she was taken in by her non-related big brother she mentioned earlier, Frank Yeager, aka Gray Fox, who shared his rations with her to keep her alive, and Big Boss assisted also in bringing them to America. Snake killing Big Boss and crippling Fox motivated Naomi for revenge. But her hatred for Snake subsided a bit after learning about his bond with Gray Fox. Snake asks her if she programmed Fox Die to kill him too. She doesn't answer, silently confirming that she did. She's about to explain that even though she wanted revenge, she wasn't the one who made the decision for Snake to carry Fox Die, that he was injected with it as part of the operation. But then she's whisked away and placed back under arrest. Snake doesn't get any answers from Campbell about Fox Die, and has to press on with stopping Metal Gear. So head back to the computer room and insert the key into the right terminal, which activates Metal Gear? What the hell happened? Then Master calls you, thanking you for inputting the PAL codes for him. He explains that Ocelot accidentally killed the DARPA chief during the torture interrogation, so they had no detonation code, essentially nullifying their nuclear threat. So he arranged for Decoy Octopus to disguise himself as the DARPA chief to get the information from Snake, which didn't work out. So they had to manipulate Snake to use the card keys to unknowingly activate Metal Gear. Campbell chimes in, telling Snake that Master Miller's murdered body was just discovered at his home, and the man you thought was Master the whole time was none other than Liquid. He seals the entrance and starts gassing the place. Throw on the gas mask and call up Otacon, who will unlock the door from the security room. There's a ration in the corner of the room and one just outside the door. When you get outside, you'll confront Liquid, who reveals that a spy that they have in the Pentagon dug up some info for them regarding Fox Die. Snake was used to carry Fox Die and spread it to the terrorists, killing them all so they could get Metal Gear back undamaged, and that Naomi altered the Fox Die program just before the operation, probably programming it to kill Snake. Liquid also knows that if Snake doesn't die from Fox Die, then he won't either, since they're twins and their genetic code is identical. And Snake has the dominant genes, and Liquid has the recessive genes, so Snake would have to go first. Liquid admits his ulterior motive is to gain revenge on Big Boss for his constant badgering of Liquid as being inferior, by surpassing his legacy as a warrior, since he can't take revenge on him physically, thanks to Snake. Liquid hops into Metal Gear Rex, the floor raises, and now you have to take on this huge fucking weapon yourself. Rex has 3 attacks: missiles when you're standing far away, machine gun fire when you're at medium range, and a laser when you're close. The machine gun will deal the least amount of damage, so try to stay at a medium distance and dodge the gunfire. Send the Stinger missiles into the radome, which is located on the machine's left shoulder area. There's also a cheap way to win this. Stand way down in the bottom right hand corner and lean back against the wall. He won't see you. He'll scope the area for a bit, then change spots, scope that area too, and when he turns around to face the other way here, step out, fire the Stinger, and head back behind the wall, and he'll go back to looking for you again. Like I said, it's a cheap way to win, but it does save you rations. It takes a little while though, because you have to wait for him to finally back out far enough. If you hit him too soon, he'll turn around and spot you. Regardless of your choice of method, this is a good area to go and grab a ration. Even after draining all of its energy, the radome still isn't destroyed. Grey Fox shows up, revealing himself to be Deep Throat, and assists you in attempting to take Metal Gear down. You and Fox retreat behind a crate. Snake asks Fox about stopping Naomi from taking revenge for him, and he says he can't do it because he's the one who killed her parents, and he took her in out of guilt. He asks Snake to tell her the truth, and offers a final present to stop Metal Gear from moving. He moves in, gets his arm sliced off from the laser, gets pinned against the wall, but still manages to shoot down the radome, destroying it and causing Liquid to now be fully exposed. Fox tells you to fire the Stinger, but the explosion will surely kill Fox also. So you get to aim the Stinger at Liquid, but if you fire, Snake won't fire. He can't bring himself to do it, so you really can't do anything here. Liquid is about to finish off Fox when he utters his last words, bidding Snake farewell, and Liquid crushes him under the foot of Rex. Now you gotta finish Metal Gear off for good. Its attacks are the same, but this time your target is the head area where Liquid is stationed. Instead of attacking from the front, run underneath Metal Gear and shoot at the head from there. Just be careful on the way through. That laser is the most dangerous weapon Metal Gear has. Each time you hit him, he'll shuffle around. Stay just behind it and maneuver yourself so you don't get stomped. Once it stops moving around, he'll scope out the area trying to find you. That's when you want to move in for the next shot. Repeat the process until you destroy Metal Gear. The explosion sends Snake into the wall, knocking him out, although while he's nodding off, he can see Liquid is approaching. You'll wake up restrained, and Liquid reveals his true objective behind this revolution. He wants a soldier's world, where warriors like him are honored and desired, the same dream as Big Boss. He explains that both he and Snake were created as a clone experiment to produce replicas of the greatest soldier in the world at the time, Big Boss, for the purposes of combat. Since Big Boss was wounded and in a coma at the time of the experiment, they had to use his cells and transfer them to a woman's uterus, and voila, twin snakes. Liquid is also bitter about the fact that he was used to intentionally feed Snake all the dominant genes, while Liquid was left with the recessive genes, basically meaning that Liquid was a guinea pig to create Snake. Campbell informs you that since Metal Gear has been destroyed and there's no more threat of an attack, he's ordered surface-piercing bombers to wipe out the entire place to cover everything up. Campbell assures Snake he'll order a delay to the strike in an effort to buy him some time. He reveals that Foxhound was already the subject of an undercover investigation, and Meryl was transferred to the base as a way to force Campbell into cooperating, hence all the information he's been keeping from Snake. Just as he's about to issue the order, he's placed under arrest for, quote, leaking top-secret information by Security of Defense Jim Houseman, who issues the bombers on their way. Liquid unties you for a final hand-to-hand battle. Seeing as how they're about to be bombed, he at least wants to kill Snake. Meryl is laid out behind you, tied down and unconscious. Meanwhile, Liquid starts a 3-minute timer on a nuclear module to act as a time limit for the fight. You're standing on top of Metal Gear, by the way. It's destroyed, but still standing. There's really not a lot of room to maneuver, and if you cross the edge, you'll slip off and have to climb back up, providing Liquid doesn't stomp your hands and send you off. He'll attack with punches, spin kicks, and sometimes a charging headbutt. Run in front of him and give him combo shots. He'll have some recovery time, so you've got to let him run around for a couple seconds before trying to land your next shot. You have 2.5 minutes to take him down, which sounds like a pretty good amount of time, but Liquid's health drains pretty slowly, so don't get too conservative. After finishing him off, you'll send him off Metal Gear to the ground. No way he could survive that. You'll wake Meryl up, who embraces you, telling you that her hope to see you again kept her fighting while she was being tortured. If you gave in to the torture, then Meryl dies here. Then Otacon calls you, telling you that there's an entrance to a parking garage that leads to the surface nearby, and he offers to stay in the building, essentially sacrificing himself when the bombing takes place so he can unlock the security doors along your escape route. As the bombing's about to start, Snake and Meryl throw on some clothes and head out. If Meryl dies, then it'll be Otacon in her place. Grab the rations just outside the door and near the stairs here. Then on the way out, you get picked up by a surveillance camera and guards will show up. While Meryl's trying to get the Jeep started, fend off the guards and grab the ration in the lower left-hand corner. When Meryl gets the Jeep started, hop on and fire the gun at the guards. She'll drive off and make a couple stops along the way where 2 guards are located. Shoot them down. Aiming for the barrels is a good idea here, although on the second stop there are 3 guards and no barrels. As you drive on, somehow Liquid has managed to survive the fall, following you in another Jeep. The only strategy here is to shoot him. There's really no other way to explain it. You just gotta get your aim down and do it from multiple angles. You don't have to worry about steering as Meryl controls the Jeep, which really gives Snake an advantage here. Liquid is multitasking, and he's also putting Tony Montana to shame in terms of how many bullets a human being can withstand. When you hold off Liquid for long enough, you'll make it outside, and Liquid cuts you off, crashing both Jeeps. Snake and Meryl are trapped under their Jeep, and it seems Liquid's dead, but uh-oh is right. Liquid's definitely alive, although he must be freezing his ass off. Liquid staggers towards Snake, and right as he's about to blast him to hell, he succumbs to Fox Die, which Snake realizes he very well could be next. Campbell calls to let you know that the Secretary of Defense has been arrested, as Campbell managed to contact the President, who apparently had no knowledge of Metal Gear. It was all the Secretary of Defense. So he was also able to cancel the bombing, and lets you know that there's a snowmobile nearby they picked up from the satellite photos, and that he'll report that Snake officially died after his Jeep sank into the ocean, so the DIA won't be looking for him. And Snake arranges for Otacon to be rescued too. Naomi gets on to talk to you about Fox Die, but first Snake relays Fox's message to her. Well, not really. He lies and tells her that he said he'd always love her and that she should move on and live her own life. She gets emotional and finally accepts his death. Snake asks her about when he's gonna die, now that Liquid's dead. She tells him that it's up to him to use the time he has left and he should just live, basically not really answering this question and leaving his fate open-ended. Snake and Meryl get on the snowmobile, and before taking off, Snake expresses that he should start a new path in life, to enjoy life and live for someone else, namely Meryl, implying that this is the start of a romantic relationship between the two. He also reveals that his real name is David. In the other ending, you'll find out that Campbell is actually Meryl's father, that Campbell banged his brother's wife like a fucking scumbag. So then you'll take off on the snowmobile and the credits roll. After they're done rolling, you'll hear a phone conversation, but you'll only catch the audio from Ocelot, who is revealed to be a double agent sent to recover the optical disc with Metal Gear's test data, and that the man he's working for is the third Big Boss clone, Solidus, and he's also the President of the United States. If this shit doesn't open the door up for a sequel, I don't know what will. If you finish the game and Meryl survives, you'll get the bandana item, which will award you with infinite ammo in your next saved game. If Meryl dies, you'll get the stealth camouflage and be able to walk by guards without being spotted. So that's Metal Gear Solid, a very solid game/movie, if I do say so myself. Its tight gameplay and brilliant story grips you from beginning to end with excellent character development and well-executed plot twists. It's also a great commentary on several subjects including war, genetics, and government conspiracies. Even though this is technically a sequel to Metal Gear 2, the Metal Gear Solid series would continue on its own, starting with Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty to follow 3 years later. There was also a remake of Metal Gear Solid for the GameCube in 2004 called Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. The graphics were improved, but I felt the voice acting wasn't quite as strong, and there was too much over-the-top Matrix-type bullshit. I like the more grounded feel of the original. Not to say that there wasn't anything supernatural or a stretch of reality, but it felt a lot more believable in general. The combination of great gameplay, music, sound, controls, voice acting, and story make this one of the true great works of art in video game history. It deserves a place in the Video Game Hall of Fame, a place that should exist. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.